Beauties, I have here with me 18 singles that I handpicked for you all that I believe are very earthy. Clarifying, not a single one of these is from the Earth Vibrant collection of Cleona because obviously those are designated as earthy. Without further ado, let's jump in. Our first single is from Shine by SD. This is one of my favorite singles. If you all know me, you know that I love a single that has a neutral shift. I know, although I'm not a neutral lover, that's what I like in my multichromes. This is Courageous, and it has a beautiful brownie shift going into green, and it really looks like it's made up of tiny glitter particles. The shift is super prominent, which is something you don't necessarily have in all different types of multichromes, but of course I love Shine by SD if you know me and have been watching me. So it goes all the way from some sort of a taupe to gold to green to teal. Our next shade is Inertia from Terra Moons, and as you can see, this one also has sort of a neutrally shift. This one also goes from a neutral shift all the way to a green shift, passing through a copper shift. Now, compared to Courageous, this one is much more smooth and it kind of looks like it has a black base, but so pretty and very opaque. Our next shade is another shade that is sort of similar to Inertia, but this one is a lot brighter and it does not have that black base. This one is G'day from Glaminatrix. And this one is so beautiful. It's one of my favorite multichromes. Write to me below if you want me to do a video showing you my top 10 favorite multichromes. So as you can see, this does have sort of a grayish base, or in the shade you kind of see a grayish color, but then the glaze over it goes from sort of a light green to gold to bronze to copper. And this is so beautiful. This one was in a palette called You Beauty from Glaminatrix, but they have it as a single. I actually have it as a single. I don't have that palette. Beauties, if you're wondering, in honor of Earth Day or Earth Week, I'm wearing Cobblestone, which is one of the Earth Vibrant lacquers from Cleona on my nails. And this shade is of course also available as an eyeshadow from Cleona. But let's continue with the next one. This one is Abracadabra from Luxie Beauty, and we are going to have all kinds of selections in these 18 shades. We're gonna have ones that are super economically priced. We're gonna have some that are super expensive, so that you can sort of see for yourself how you can actually get very nice eyeshadows at very nice prices. One of which is this one. We have that neutral brown base with a super beautiful wet looking glaze on top that goes blue to white to green. This is so beautiful. Let's do another shade from Shine by SD. Beauties, I forgot to mention, the first shade that I picked from Shine by SD, Courageous, is from their Eternal collection. And the shade that we're going to be talking about right now is from the Halo Horizon collection called the Symphony. So this one looks even more like it's comprised of tiny, tiny glitter particles. And you see the base is kind of purple, but then it looks like it has tiny, very bright and shiny glitters throughout. So, so, so beautiful. And I recommend using a tacky base with this one, although I have not done that. And it really looks like it has glitters inside. And you can see that the glitter particles go so beautiful, so halo looking, from green all the way to silver, and in the middle you do see purple, you see blue, you see all kinds of colors. These glitters have a lot of shifts and it's so beautiful. It adds a lot of dimensions to this eyeshadow, and honestly, just like a lot of other shadows from Shine by Estate, this is such a special shade. I don't really see shades similar to this. All the shiftiness really reminds me of semi-precious stones or generally gemstones. Beauties, if you're enjoying this video, I have a palette version of it where I talk about earthy palettes that I found in my collection, and I also go in detail about how I see something being earthy, so maybe that gives you more perspective. I'll tag it for you all. The next shade is this one, which is Unexpected from JD Glow. If you all know, you know that Lauren May Beauty made me buy this. This is such a beautiful, beautiful, neutral, shifty shade. Super, super creamy, and it has that brown base with a beautiful wet glaze that goes green to white or silver to blue. Very similar in some ways to Abracadabra from Luxie, but this one is much more opaque than Abracadabra, and the shifts become a little more prominent because I think the base is more opaque. Such a beautiful shade. This is just a quick comparison of Abracadabra and Unexpected, and these two also very much remind me of gemstones, just the shifts that they have. So beautiful. Beauties, as I mentioned earlier, we're gonna have a variety of shades, and this one is actually not a multichrome. This is Mink from Glaminatrix. This is one of their glimmers from the first Glimmer series. I've already mentioned to you all how much I love these glimmers, and what I love about this shade is that although it is sort of a gray, sort of a silver, sort of a taupe, it does have a very interesting purpley shift. Do you all see the purple? It's a lot more difficult to see the purple in the pan, and needless to say, this is a neutral color. It's very earthy, but the swatch definitely reminds me of some unique minerals or even some gemstones. Let's go back again into the ones that have a green to neutral shift. And the first one that I'm gonna get into is this beautiful one. This is Abracadabra. I know I did another Abracadabra from Luxie, but this one is actually from Glam Shop, which is a green base with a coppery overtone. So unique and so beautiful. I actually checked to make sure Glam Shop still has this shade available. There's no point in talking about shades that you can't get your hands on. Actually, I do see some copper overtone and some bronze overtone. So the combination of greens and browns definitely give me that earthy vibe. Let's now swatch another single with more or less a similar kind of a shift, but this one has lighter shifts. And this is from Luxie. This is Groovy Baby. Again, green base with sort of a brownish neutral shift on top. The green is not as dark as Glam Shop's green, but the shifts are very similar. Let me quickly show you these two colors next to each other. So we have Luxie's and we have Glam Shop's. And beauties, the copper shift of this one even goes into sort of a purple. I hope you can see that purple. And that color purple also reminds me of minerals, because that color purple is very much available in nature. And I will get to a few selections that are exactly this purple color. And now that we mentioned the purple, let's talk about this purple one. So this one is Valan or Bayan by Divina. And as I move it around, you can probably see that the purple kind of diffuses into a neutral color. And that kind of shift is very much seen in nature, which is why a lot of the singles that I'm going to show you in this selection, if they have a purple shift, it's kind of a variation of this color purple. Even in this one, you can see that the purple is sort of an overtone to a black base, and I can see this kind of a shade look amazing for a smoky look with a colorful twist. It's such a beautiful color from Divina. Continuing with more similar colors with a purple shift, let's look at this one. This is Sculpture from Cliona. Okay. I mentioned I'm not going to do Earth Vibrant. Now, this is not from the OG Earth Vibrant. This is from the extension that they released during Christmas. But hey, you can think of it as a bonus. I'm going to quickly show you how this one has a similar purple shift, because this one also goes sort of green to a neutral brownish or creamy shift to a purple shift that is exactly that same color as we just saw from Divina. You see how this color shifts? Yeah, you see exactly that same purple color as we just saw from Divina, and we go from teal to green to gold to sort of a neutrally cream to this purple color, which is so beautiful. And this one also looks like it's comprised of tiny, very glittery particles. So shimmery and shifty. Let's look at another one that has a purpley shift. This is setting a trend from Touch of Glam. And this one also looks so metallic and beautiful. And the shifts on this one are very similar to Sculpture, except for the fact that this one looks so much more metallic. Sculpture was a little more diffused and a lot more smooth. But you can see the same shifts. So teal to green to gold to some sort of a neutrally all the way to that same purple color. And totally gives me the earthy vibes. Let's continue with our green all the way to a neutral shift trend. This one is another from Cliona, and no beauties, not an Earth Vibrant one. This is from their Jeweled Multichrome. This is Gargoyle, and this is one of my faves. So this one actually goes deep purple to teal to green to brown, which is kind of a different shift. We don't see the same purple color that we just saw in Balan. It's such a beautiful shade. This is one of my all-time favorite Cliona shades, because this is the first Cliona multichrome that I owned that had a neutral shift, and I think it's so special. And now that we did Gargoyle, let's also do Hemisphere from Divina, which is also a green, which I consider kind of a dupe for Gargoyle. This one also goes purpley blue to green to sort of goldish to a neutral brownie shift. It's very similar to Gargoyle. If you all want me to swatch compare any of these, write in the comments below. And last but not least, of the multichromes that go green to a neutral shift is this one, which is also one of my all-time favorite shades. This is Hyperion from Terra Moons. Now this one also kind of has a purpley shift, very similar to Mink. This one is not like Bayan. This is more like Mink from Glaminatrix that I swatched a little earlier. So it's taupe with a tiny hint of purple. But it goes green to gold to brown to that mink purple taupey color. Let's talk about a couple of singles that are not really multichrome but are beautiful. We have Palladium from Terra Moons. This very much reminds me of the glimmers from Glaminatrix, but these are from Terra Moons, and this is such a beautiful shade. This shade and a few others in the same series, we have Palladium, we have Rubidium, and a couple more, and all of them are super metallic, and they remind me of metals from the earth, which obviously kind of hint earthy colors. So I didn't want to swatch every single one, but I put this one as a representative because this one I've never swatched on my channel, and it's so beautiful. And the next one I want to mention is Elixir from Cliona. This is one of the circular pans from Cliona, and this one also is super unique because generally it looks like one shade, but it kind of has more than one shade inside. It's kind of difficult to describe this shade. It kind of is silver with a hint of gold, but then in the shade it kind of looks like it's a little bit purple. Super beautiful, and it's definitely one of those shades that reminds me of metals, hence the earthiness. And last but not least, we have Apparition from Copacetic. This one is an interesting shade. It's kind of translucent. It has a creamy base with a glaze that goes white, silvery to blue. Because of the cream base and the fact that the shifts are kind of diffused, it gives me kind of earthy vibes, and I thought it fits pretty well into this collection. This is a great shade for the inner corner, highlighting the brow bone, or if you just want, honestly, across the lid as one shade if you don't want to wear something super bold. It will give you a little bit of wetness on the eye, and it's so beautiful. Friends, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you like these kinds of videos. I have a playlist where I swatch eyeshadow singles that I've selected based on a theme similar to this one. You should see that playlist on your screen about now. I love you all. Have an amazing day, and until next time, bye.